And welcome in to the Gaming Discourse. I am Tyler Frater alongside Richard D. the Cruz.
We started already?
And Chief Engineer Lieutenant Commander Connor Frater.
Yeah, I did hear the intro.
No. Monday, March 14th, 2022. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at the Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse. Just posted a video about Halo Infinite's campaign. And why I believe Halo Infinite's campaign is so disappointing.
Can you tell me what was so infinite about it?
His disappointment.
It's not going to be. You know what? I don't even understand the significance of calling it Halo Infinite, because it's not about the UNSC Infinity, which is the ship. And if it were, it should be called Halo Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's not about the Infinity. So I'm not. But even like
it's not the eighth one, so you can't just put the number 8 on its side.
And even like thematically, I'm not sure. Like, Halo rings are an infinite loop, but that's true about every Halo. It's an infinite loop.
True about every circle.
Yeah, it's true about every circle. So I'm not sure. Actually, it's not true about the Halo and Halo Infinite. It's the only Halo that isn't infinite because it's a broken Halo. So I don't know. It's destroyed.
Yeah,
it's not.
No. I put together that, but I'm just trying to figure out the infinite part now.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure thematically how infinite. I think Infinite is just about that they plan on it being a live service bullshit thing.
Aren't all Halos Elden rings?
Elder rings.
Yeah. All right. Well.
So I don't think I have to say what I've been playing.
Sorry.
Connor, you want to talk about Pokemon for a second before Richard and I talk about adults games?
Oh, hold on. There's a couple other things I dabbled in.
Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Oh.
This is off to an interesting start.
Wait, no. If we're going to end with Elden Ring, why am I starting?
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Connor.
Do we want to take two? No, okay.
This is fine. People like authenticity, right?
So I've played and beat Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It takes the whole time travel thing takes an interesting turn. There's apparently a character that has like severe amnesia that also came from the future, but like has bits and pieces returning to him, and he's a train conductor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that character. He's pretty cool, but there's a lot going on with that character.
Okay.
You end up having to make a choice towards the end that determines which legendary Pokemon you get and which one you fight.
Okay.
And I was expecting the game to end with you encountering Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
But apparently that's not until you complete the Pokedex after the game ends. Then you get another mission to go.
Oh, that's the end game. Got it.
Yeah. Because I looked up, I'm like, I have all these plates for Arceus. Where do I get Arceus? And it's like, you have to complete the Pokedex, beat the main game, and then you get a mission to go
catch God.
Yeah, catch God. you get to put God in a box.
Just gotta throw a little Pokeball at him.
And then the game ends with Alice in Chains, Man in the Box.
But it's again super fun. I really love the alternate artwork for the Pokemon of this region.
Yeah, because they kind of like they've evolved since then, so they look a little different. Right? Is that what you mean?
No, they have like specific evolutions for like the Growlithe looks different and the Arcanine looks different. The Typhlosion, instead of being just a fire type Typhlosion, it's Fire Ghost.
Right.
And they just did that for a few of the different Pokemon, and the artwork on them is phenomenal. It's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not much else to say. If you haven't played it, I recommend it. It's a good Pokemon game. Again, the open world really is a good addition to Pokemon, having this like wider open world, even though it's broken into individual like little map zones that you can go into. Just having the Pokemon out in the fields instead of chance encounters in long grass. Nice, because I get to choose which Pokemon I fight.
And there are like side quests and
I'm still doing side quests. There's unlockables that you can get from the different stores for doing different missions for them. As you progress through, the town that you start in expands as you start to show people that Pokemon aren't meant to be feared, that they're meant to be lived alongside. So they start working with the Pokemon in town, and there's more Pokemon in town after that, rather than just
the
guards.
Neat.
Yeah,
cool.
And yeah, but lots of side missions. probably 3 or 4 times than the actual like main story missions. There's like 3 or 4 times more side quests. A lot of them are really short, but a lot of them are, hey, fill out the Pokedex page for this Pokemon and report back to me so I can, give you this reward. Yeah.
It does that sounds cool. Now I really want to play it. I mean, I wanted to play it before, but
I highly recommend. It's fun.
Damn it.
Elden Ring has taken over my life.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Wait your turn.
I started up with my wife. We started playing Orcs Must Die 3.
Oh, okay.
Which came out on Stadia at some point.
In the past.
Is it last year? How long has Stadia been out? Feels like forever.
Dude, if something happened before yesterday.
Okay, right.
Like, I have no idea.
Well, Orcs Must Die 3 went back to its kind of like story-based route. The game before was Orcs Must Die Unchained, which I greatly enjoyed. It was originally going to be a MOBA, because MOBAs were like huge at the time when they started developing it. Then it became a free-to-play game, and there was like daily challenges, stuff like that. And I think with Orcs Must Die, due to the structure of the game itself, I really enjoyed the delivery system in it, because every week would be like different maps or different challenges and stuff like that. Yeah, of course you would hit walls every now and again, but if you just like jumped in every now and again, it was really fun. But the fans didn't like it, and it didn't do well. Yeah. So they went back to Orcs Must Die 3, like the actual structure. And this game takes place sometime in the like, I think like 20 years later than like the original. And so the 2 main characters who have always been around, Maximilian and I forgot the sorceress's name, they're now older, and they're training like newer cadets to defend against orcs.
Gotcha.
And Maximilian's gone missing. So you're playing as 2 new recruits who are setting traps all over now. And of course the orcs are attacking again, and you're trying to figure out why. That's all I've gathered so far. But at first, it was a little different, because I don't know if it's because the way that how many games we've played since Unchained, but it felt different than Unchained in the way that like it didn't flow as well. But as we played more and more maps, I think by the time we got around to like the 5th or 6th map, we realized that like it wasn't. It was how the game was structured, not the gameplay itself. Because you have your main weapons. The male character has a kind of a light bow and arrow. Then the female main character has a blunderbuss. And I could have sworn in Unchained, like me and my wife were talking about it, that we had melee weapons, but there were no melee weapons to be found. But in this one, when you beat maps, you get skulls, which you then use to buy either new weapons or upgrade your traps. Forgot that's how it works. It's been so long since I played the original Orcs Must Die 2. As soon as we like kind of got used to that, then we started to go back and like completely like 5 skull every game, which is like getting all of the requirements needed for those. And so now we've been having a ton of fun with it, and Orcs Must Die is just a really, really cool series. I'm glad it's still going, and I'm glad it's gone as long as it has, but I feel like I want it to be a little more popular with people, because it's kind of it is tower defense, but it's a little more just kind of involved than other normal tower defense games. And since it's a huge genre on iPhone, or not iPhone, on mobile devices, it probably would be a good idea for them to kind of probably make a mobile version of it.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was playing that, so that was very fun. And then I tried out the Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise demo. I played the first demo months and months ago, and it was fine. It didn't grab me, and the gameplay was okay. It was a bit ridiculous character-wise, and the world looked great, though. I skipped the second demo, and then, of course, the third one came out with the announcement of the State of Play last week. I played this one, and someone had a great analogy on Twitter about it, and I'm going to use this analogy here. So Kingdom Hearts here, where like it takes place in all the Disney worlds and whatnot. Sure. Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise is as if Kingdom Hearts only had one world, and that world was Fast and the Furious.
What?
So you play as the main character. His name is Jack. Just Jack.
All right.
Well, his last name apparently is Garland. And Garland is the name of the villain in the original Final Fantasy. And this game takes place in the original world of Final Fantasy. So everybody's already surmised, like, oh, he's going to become the villain.
Sure.
Because that's immediate. Like, I don't know if this is how the actual game is going to start out. But the demo basically starts out with a whole cinematic of Garland killing everybody, whatnot. And then Jack appears. You do a tutorial. And then he kind of just shows up at the city. And he's alone. And then two guys come up behind him. And he turns around. Grunting ensues. And they're like, we have this crystal. We got to go defeat Chaos. And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm here too. And they all fist bump. And they become best friends just immediately.
Hell yeah.
And it literally is like, let's go ask the king to defeat Chaos. Like, just right off the bat. Like, let's just go. And they go. And they ask the king. And it literally goes to two different black screens with text. It's just like, they asked the king. The king said no. The king told them to go on a mission. They did it. Now they're coming back. like that's the two. And the cutscene begins with them coming back, and the king is like, "Okay, yeah, sure." There's supposed to be four of you because the legend is there's supposed to be four heroes of light, which is the original Final Fantasy. And he's like, "But there's only three of you. But I guess go ahead and go do it." Like. And I obviously am being facetious when I'm telling the story, but it's literally like, this is how fast it's going. And Jack is just, God, he's such a fucking tool. But it's so on purpose. Like, you can just tell it's so on purpose.
It's weird.
And I don't know why. Every word out of his mouth is chaos. Like, he wants to kill chaos. He wants to destroy chaos. It's that's all
wait
fine.
A second.
It's this one. Yeah.
This is the other demo was the one where the guy with the phone.
That's him. That's Jack.
That's okay. I remember that demo now, and he's like, bullshit.
Yeah, and then he plays Limp Bizkit and walks away.
He plays Limp Bizkit and walks away. Yeah.
He does stuff like that in the demo. Like towards the end, when the villain shows up, the villain starts talking, and he goes, "I don't care. I just want to defeat chaos." And it's like, thanks for interrupting the villain, because like we don't care about his monologue, but still, it's just God. Like the princess is talking to him and is just like, "Hey Jack, how's it going?" It's like, God, like it's so. Not great, but I'm curious because it's obviously it seems like he's just going to become the villain of the original game. Like that's how it leads into, and then the other two characters and a third one who probably joins. Those will be the four heroes of light who come. Whatever. Anyways, demo was wild. I'm excited to see all the memes that come from it. That's it.
All right.
And obviously the rest of my time has been Elden Ring.
Yeah.
A lot of my other time has been Elden Ring.
So how have you fared in the world of Elden Ring?
Wonderful. I'm slowly finding out that what I wanted to do isn't what I originally wanted to do as far as my build goes. I have found a dragon communion temple. I found two of them.
Yeah.
The first one, I had no clue about. My friend, she told me, and I was like, this is right at the beginning. How did I miss this? The second one I found had an extremely overpowered ability, which I'm now using.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think we're both using it.
Destroying everything.
Is it rot breath?
Rotten breath, yes, sir.
Breath.
And
yeah.
I did, like, there's a dog in the Raya Academy, and I beat him in, like, less than 5 seconds using that rotten breath.
So awesome.
It's terrible too, because rotten breath, if you're not careful, you're done too.
Wait,
like,
is there friendly fire?
No, I mean where you get it in Caelid, like enemies have scarlet rot is what it's called. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that whole area is scarlet rot. All I've done is
ride through there as fast as I could.
Okay.
To the dragon community.
So I have to be there for doing missions, unlocking things, whatnot.
I'm lucky enough to not have to go to Caelid for any reason but to get that. So
yeah, I myself am I want this. Where is it? Oh, it's over here. Okay, well, I got to go over there and get it. Yeah, that whole area the lakes are scarlet rot. So if you walk through it, your bar's just, you know,
just goes straight up.
Yeah, like poison. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
but scarlet rot is just it. And as soon as it's full, you're dead. Like you are dead.
Yeah.
And so, but I am over there because I'm fighting. I was trying to fight Radon, who is this general, a war general who fought the main villain of the game. Lost. Now that whole land is full of scarlet rot because the main villain is the cause of the scarlet rot.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they don't tell you that, but you gotta.
They don't tell you much.
Yeah, no, right. And like I was telling you before the podcast, he is one of the coolest fights I've ever played. I'll add more to that aesthetically, like where you fight him, how you fight him, what you use to fight him. It's really neat. However, he is one of the most infuriating bosses I've ever played as well, because he has the kind of the pseudo power of gravity. He has gravity magic, and so his moves are really cool. He throws like meteors at you. He pulls you in with certain attacks. But like he's the size of a building. And his horse is like this big, and he's drifting around the field. And his horse is just like, yes, master. But he's just zooming, and if you don't watch out, I told you he has like that magnetism of like he's going to attack you 100 feet away, but he's going to somehow like hit you. He's going to go so.
Do like a Jordan slam.
Yeah, exactly.
Destroy you.
I've just been, exploring some more. I'm trying to do like some NPC side quests, which I have to look up the NPCs because if you're not in the right place, right time, do the right thing, you're going to miss them. So I would like to see these characters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. I would like to see, I would like to see all these characters and try to help them. What's great about the Elden Ring universe and in the Souls universe, what's great and not great is that nothing really has a happy ending. It's all despair. It's all, there are some, spots of light in the dark, but yeah, I have found my abilities I want to use, and I found my weapons I want to use up until something else happens. And I feel like I'm at a very good point, a lot of time in, that I can kind of just encounter things without having to worry about constantly dying.
Sure.
Which, for a lot of people, they would not get to that point, I think, unless they were really interested in the world. Like, well, the not obviously the story wise of the world, but just the world in general.
Yeah.
Because there's been plenty of points where people I think would just be like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yep.
But I'm glad that I'm glad that the world itself kept me so interested that I decided to keep going, because now I like where I'm at and I can't wait to see more.
Mm-hmm. Getting through some of these bosses is like getting through what's it called when you get the inside of your tooth removed?
Root canal.
Like a root canal. You just sort of have to wait through it, and eventually it'll be over. And all that happens beforehand is just dread, and all that happens afterward is just you're happy that it's over with. Mm-hmm. But Margit, so I was having a lot of trouble. So if you go into Elden Ring without any idea of what to build or what weapons to aim for, the game could become unplayable, like if you do it that way. Just because if you don't specialize in things and don't take advantage of some weapons and spells like better abilities and whatnot, it can just be such a slog.
Yeah.
So I was for a long time. So I was doing a faith build for a long time. I had a spear. The spear was not very good, but it was allowing me to do defensive fighting where I didn't have to worry about getting killed a lot, and I could keep upgrading my faith. And then I found the winged scythe, which is one of the best faith. I assume one of the best faith-based weapons in the game. And as soon as I found the winged scythe, game completely changed. Now all of a sudden, I was able to kill things. It wasn't a super struggle. The winged scythe's secondary ability, the special ability called the Angel's Wings, your character swings and jumps and then comes back down and swings again. And it can break if an enemy has their shield up, it'll break the shield block. So it's very, very nice, and it costs magic to cast. But because I was doing a magic faith build, I have a ton of magic, so I can cast it over and over and over and over again. But like as soon as you find like where your character is focused through, like what your main weapon is, then things start to branch out. Like, okay, I found the weapon I want to use, and now I need to figure out what spells, and then I start to find a couple different spells, right? And then it's like, okay, now I want to integrate a couple ashes into my combat.
Yes.
So it's like, what ashes am I going to use? The jellyfish ash it's insane how good the jellyfish is.
It's great.
I only use 3 ashes. The jellyfish, the wolves, which are really interesting. There's the difference between the two, because I will go into a boss fight with the jellyfish, get rolled, and then I will go in and say, okay, I'll try the wolves, and I'll win with the wolves, because for whatever reason, whatever that boss does, it just doesn't do as well against the mob. Now, if I go into a boss who has lots of AoE attacks and stuff, the wolves will just get decimated, but the jellyfish won't worry about that. So it, and that of course works with a lot of different builds, because it costs magic to summon things, but it doesn't necessarily scale off faith or anything like that. So when you start to figure out these different little tiny, like little ways to tweak your character through spells, through weapons, through gear, through ashes and whatnot, and you develop a system of how to fight things, then everything starts to fall into place. It's the meme from Emperor's New Groove, like, oh yeah, everything's coming together. You know, everything starts to tie really nicely together. The game is still super difficult. Yes, rot breath is really helpful. I just beat a boss with rot breath. And I got good news and bad news for you. The good news is, if you want to respec your character, the next major boss allows you to do that.
That's why I'm at Raya.
The bad news is Renala sucks. She sucks. She's not. Once you figure her out, she's not super difficult. It's just tedious. And there's Elden Ring does one of those things where it changes the rules of the game real quick to force you to do something. I don't want to spoil it. Do you care about spoilers for Renala?
No.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Okay. I'll say this. Scarlet Breath will help, but there comes a point where you have to beat her the way Elden Ring wants you to beat her, and you can't kill her any other way, which is bullshit.
Okay.
Because it is not easy to it's not super difficult, but it's not a walk in the park to infect her with Scarlet Rot.
Yeah.
And then if you do it well enough where it takes her health all the way down, and it's bullshit that Elden Ring's like, you know what? No, you still gotta, even though you defeated her, you still gotta do her thing before you move on. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
that made me pretty angry. But it was okay, because I ended up getting past her. So I think that's probably the most important thing, though, is once I, because last week I was having a lot of trouble with Margit, and I was like, okay, I gotta find a weapon, I gotta figure things out. And then once I got the scythe, then I was like, okay, now I can see the light, I understand what I'm doing. So it's both, but in that is someone told me where the scythe was, and I've done a lot of exploring and some grinding, and someone told me about rot breath. So a lot of it has been word of mouth, talking to different people, stuff like that. I can't imagine if you were somebody who was just exploring dungeon, trying to find everything. Because if you're not talking to anybody, and you go left instead of right at one point, you could miss something that you need, and the entire game could just be a really painful slog. But in that is a really cool system where, you can build your character, and people have insanely different characters with different strengths and weaknesses that are getting through all the same. But yeah, after, it's so great to have a goal in mind with your character, and also to just sort of, because there's so much stuff in the open world, it's like, I don't know how many times I was looking at the map and I was just sort of scrolling through all the dungeons, and then there's like a little space where I haven't found a dungeon. So it's like if I put a marker over here and go investigate, I'll probably find a dungeon. And lo
Probably,
and behold,
yeah.
there's a dungeon in that area or in the side of a canyon somewhere. So it really rewards exploration and stuff like that. And sometimes it rewards exploration in a way that doesn't benefit you, but will benefit somebody else, you know? So it's like, okay, well, if I had a character that was based in Arcane, this would be a huge discovery.
Yes.
But I'm not. But when you do find something that helps your character out, that's fantastic. So yeah, I'm in love with it. It's very Dark Souls. It's very it wants to make you mad and it wants to do mean things to you and stuff like that. But if you can just sort of punch through it, it's great. And yeah, as soon as I got the scythe, I went back to Margit, beat him in one shot. Took one more try, beat him, super happy. Godric was the next boss. Godric took me a couple tries, but I was able to beat Godric after a while too. So, yeah, it's the thing that almost broke me just like less than 24 hours ago was I went to get, now Rot Breath, you have to use a Dragon Heart to buy.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So Dragon Hearts are not necessarily easy to come by. There is one way that's easy, which I ended up using, and I don't feel bad about, even though you're supposed to feel bad about it.
Okay.
But so
Oh, I know.
yeah.
You asshole.
I'm sorry. Here's my justification. Okay,
Sure,
here's my
okay.
justification.
Do you
So
want to put a spoiler tag here?
I don't think it's a spoiler tag.
Okay.
There's a dragon that is too old to fight back.
Parthenax.
But you can go behind him where he can't attack you and just wail until he dies. So you're fighting a defenseless dragon. And you get lots of souls and you get dragon hearts, which you can spend on things. Now I went to get the Rot Breath, and somehow I accidentally bought Dragon Ice
Oh, okay.
instead
Yeah,
of Rot Breath, right?
Okay.
Which, in terms of how useful they are, it would be like if you went if you went to like a car dealership to get a car and you walked out with like a carton of eggs. It's like
Sure.
completely useless. Like there's just nothing in that helps.
So
you.
what you're telling us is karma caught up with you for killing the helpless dragon.
No. That's the thing. Is because this happened, that dragon had to die.
Oh.
Because I spent my one dragon heart.
But it happened after the fact.
No, it was before.
No,
So
you-
I got my
Oh,
dragon heart.
okay.
I accidentally purchased Dragon Ice. I was super annoyed with myself because I also grinded to get my arcane up to use it. Ice and Rot Breath have the same stats to use, so I was looking at the stats, scrolling through, and I went back to the stats that I thought were Rot Breath.
and not the name.
Even know. I'm not saying it's not my fault when I did that.
Okay.
But it is some sweaty developer's fault that to get a dragon heart is like super difficult. So I was like,
Got
you know what?
Or
I don't care.
Or read the name of the item you're buying.
I don't care. Give me 2 dragon hearts. Then old Draggy is still alive. But hey, Grandpa Dragon had to die
Because you didn't read right.
because I had 1 dragon heart instead of 2. So
Grandpa Dragon died because you didn't do your research.
I found him and I walked by and I was like, "You keep on resting, buddy." I
said that to him
writing.
too, and I said, "You keep on resting in peace."
I got a dragon heart from something I didn't realize was a dragon. It was more like a lizard. Well, I mean, granted,
it was even called a wyvern.
reptile.
It was a wyvern. You even said it, wyvern. I think the magma.
Yeah, the magma. Like, yeah,
I think it was wyvern, magma wyvern.
Yeah, it was in a cave, and he was
spitting.
spitting magma at me, and
that guy's a douchebag.
I killed him, and it was like dragon heart, and I was like, "Oh, that was a dragon." Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Now I defeated him right after I got the 5 dragon hearts, and I did feel bad about that because I was like, "Oh, I could have gotten a dragon heart this way instead of killing Grandpa Dragon." But I have no qualms about it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I don't
that's
care.
fine.
My character's
what's-
probably gonna get burned in lava and turn into a slug at the end of this game anyway.
Well,
so
what's done is done.
Yeah.
Now you won't get the true ending because you killed Grandpa Dragon.
Right.
That is an interesting little. There's so much of the world is like full of little tiny interesting details and stuff like that. Just like how throughout Raya Lucaria is just the worst place on Earth, but it is interesting with like all these mages, and then you find mages outside of Raya Lucaria, and you're like, oh. So he must have ventured out to do something and then like I encountered a mage at the top of a tower, and in front of the tower is up a ramp, like a earthen ramp, and in front of it are all these ghosts, and he's at the top and he casts spells, so you have to run through the ghosts, climb to the top of the tower, kill him, and then fight his ghosts. So it's kind of interesting because he's from Raya Lucaria, and it's like, well, he must have gotten here, and he was afraid to leave, so he put up all these defenses, and he's defending himself in this tower now. Just a little bit of like an interesting story.
There's all those dead sorcerers, and when you open the trap chest and you go to the mines, when you go out, there's a village right next to you. That village is all like, they don't appear until they attack you.
Oh,
and
those
it's
guys
like
suck,
right
yeah.
in front. And it's all fuck. All right, well,
yeah. That was the other thing, was there's a cave system with like a bunch of the NPCs attack one another, and
yes, they can.
Like,
yeah.
so some NPCs are hostile to one another, and I don't really know the reason why, but there's reasons behind it, which makes it interesting.
I'm glad there is a reason. At least I'm glad that like it's not all against you. It's like they're like the dragons. If they like, they'll still kill the NPCs.
That's just
like,
by
great.
accident.
No, real quick story. I went to not Raya Lucaria, but another Karen. So the sorcerers, their household is up in the top left corner of Liurnia, the lake.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes.
God, I was thinking about going there next. I don't know if I want to go there.
Well, I'm going to tell the story anyways.
Okay.
You get 40 dragon hearts there.
Real quick, Renala
is the boss in Raya Lucaria,
right?
The story boss. Whatever.
She's the mother of a main NPC.
Okay, I think I know which one.
And so that's probably why you had to kill her a specific way, because I think she's still alive even after you kill her, right? That's how you get that. I don't
know.
Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Anyways, so I went there, and it's all foggy, and you even get warned before you go in there by a friendly blacksmith. He's like,
awesome.
Yeah, he's very cool. He's like, hey, just like, you're probably gonna die up there.
Yeah.
So
he's like the guy from South Park. He's like, some kids went up the mountain, see, and they don't come back down, see, I won't go up the mountain anyway. Sorry.
So I go there. Everything's all foggy. There's like an archway. And in the distance at the fountain, because there's nothing, like I'm looking around, there's nothing. In the distance, I see a little. Like,
oh boy!
So, I'm like,
that's where they are.
I was like, oh shit! I was like, there's the fucking hand spiders. So they're just the thing from Adam's family, and just like that. But they have like an extra set of like 2 or 3 fingers, and they crawl. Delicious. So I'm walking, and then my little like, hey, you can summon some help here, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I pull out my soldiers because I use Raya soldiers.
Oh, okay.
Those guys wreck. Like I love those guys. I pulled them out. I'm walking forward, and I'm slowly walking. I'm getting ready to attack these guys that are just kind of like, and I stand there and I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Am I gonna throw a fireball at them? How am I gonna start this battle? And I just quickly look at my Ryan soldiers, and all of them are like
looking up.
And I'm like, fuck. So I look up. 2 of them on the sides of the like archways that are maybe 3 times as big as the small ones are just sitting there waiting for you. I just start lobbing fireballs at them. Thankfully, like they are creepy, but like I got over it quickly.
Okay.
So as long as you're kind of just like worrisome, and they do the fucking. They do the oh fuck, I forgot what it's called. The NPC thing where like where you don't move for a bit and you have an idle animation.
Okay.
Sure.
So like where they're like that, and then eventually like if you're watching them, they'll just start going like
scratch.
Like they'll start scratching themselves with it. But the way it like works is just like ugh. Anyways, it's not terrible. So enjoy your time there.
Yep.
It's a cool boss.
That's
and
the next
dragon.
place. That's the next place.
And another dragon. So
okay. Hopefully this dragon's too difficult for me to beat.
It'll be fine.
Another dragon that could have given you its heart instead of Grandpa Dragon.
Hey, some developer somewhere could have given me 2 hearts, but he was being sweaty and I got 1 heart, so now Grandpa Dragon died.
Because you didn't read it right.
It is that simple.
All your fault.
I don't think I have anything else to say about. Forbidden West keeps Forbidden West is phenomenal.
Oh yeah. How come you aren't talking about that?
Because all I've been playing is Elden Ring.
Yeah, I know. I'm so like happy that I got latched to Elden Ring, because once I'm done with it, I can move on to Horizon and focus solely on Horizon. So
yeah,
but
Forbidden West is very, very, very good. Its story is also really comprehensive. Like it's a really it does a good job of telling its story. So even though I have played so much of Elden Ring, I still remember what's going on.
I'm disappointed. I hear there's no more video logs. Like you don't see the holograms talking to each other and like walking around and stuff.
I've found a few, but I don't know if there may not. I'm not very. I don't think I'm.
My coworker beat it and he's like, yeah, I don't remember any. And I was like, well, okay.
Well, I know one for sure. But yeah, I've found a lot of audio logs and stuff. But Forbidden West is very good too. And also the I'm pretty sure in the last update they added adaptive controller support. So now you can actually feel things with the DualSense. Which beforehand I was disappointed because it was like there wasn't a whole lot going on there. But they added that in, and so it feels pretty cool now.
Good.
So yeah, are we ready for?
I just wanted to tag on to the Elden Ring because I did play a little bit of it after the podcast last week. I did beat one like side boss.
Yeah,
which
nice.
one? Beastman of something.
Oh, that guy in the cave.
In the wolf cave. And I went in there, just summoned the the wolves and let them go to town on him. And I just sat back and watched.
They break their poise, so the guy goes like, so it's like great.
I'm like, yes, this is how the game is meant to be played.
In my mind, it is.
The worst thing in the world, though, is when I enter a new boss and I'm like, all right, time to experiment. What's the weakness? And I summon the wolves and I'm like running around and all you hear is just shing. Shing! And like two of the wolves are already down. It's like, well,
whoops.
But man, that jellyfish.
Yeah.
So I use the wolves, the jellyfish, and then Oleg. Have you found Oleg?
No. I just
so there are special summons. There are common summons, and then there's like summons that are super summons that you have to upgrade. You have to find really rare plants or whatever.
Okay.
But there's a knight. His name is like Oleg the Knight or something like that. He is a badass. Upgrade him if you find him. Upgrade him.
I showed you where that.
But he takes a lot of FP. He takes 100 FP to cast.
100 fuck points. I showed you where that Beastman boss is, and you went in there, summoned him, and Oleg cornered the boss on the mist door.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't do a single point of damage. I literally could have dropped my controller. Oleg.
That's how I beat Margit. Did I tell you how I beat Margit?
No.
I cheesed him.
Really?
So
Awesome.
I used he has a seal that when you slam it on the ground, it stun locks him for 5 seconds. But you use it outside of the door, and then when you walk in the door, he's just standing there.
Really?
And he doesn't move. He doesn't move or anything until you get to a certain point, and then he'll like activate.
Oh no!
I just let my jellyfish. I sat there for like 15, 20 minutes just.
The jellyfish is
and it sucks too because I summoned Rogier, and that dude's a useless piece of crap.
He's not that bad.
He didn't do shit for me, but anyways.
Have you ever seen Interstellar?
No.
Well, there's a scene in Interstellar where Matthew McConaughey is flying a spaceship, and he has a robot with him, and the robot is controlling another side of the ship, and they're doing some crazy maneuver where they're spinning really fast. So the dangerous Matthew McConaughey may black out as they do this maneuver, and it's a meme. So Matthew McConaughey's spinning the ship, and the robot's name is Tars, and so he's like, "Come on, Tars!" as he's like spinning the ship because the robot's trying to do another maneuver. But anyway, when I have Jelly out and I'm like dodging enemy attacks, waiting for Jelly to shoot, it's the same exact thing because I'm just like, "Come on, Jelly! Come on, Jelly!" And Jelly will hit him with the poison and totally draw the aggro. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Her name is Aurelia. Okay.
It's Jelly. We're on a first name basis. Okay. She and I.
What? I just told you her first name.
It's Jelly.
That's her legal name. The name she chose was Jelly.
Okay, it's her pen name. It's her rapper name. I don't know. Okay, we're ready to hit the ad.
Yeah. We want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this episode. They have been silently supporting us since the very beginning, and we felt it was time to give them some love. The like and share buttons have been at our side since episode 1 of the podcast. They can be found just beneath this episode. Please give them a click, it helps us greatly. If you're feeling lucky, click the bell icon to enter for a notification anytime we post new content. You may be surprised by what you get.
8 more women have alleged sexism over at PlayStation. Here's the background real quick. Former Sony employee Emma, is it Maho or Majo?
I haven't heard it pronounced, but I've pronounced it Maho, so that may be incorrect, but
I'm going to assume it's the former, filed a lawsuit against PlayStation alleging gender discrimination and wrongful termination. Sony has denied the claims and asked the court to throw out the suit. But now, Maho's attorney filed complaints from 8 more women, including 1 current employee. Marie Harrington, who worked at PlayStation for 16 years, cited a lack of women candidates for senior roles. During one calibration session, only 4 women were considered for promotions compared to over 70 men. Kara Johnson, a former program manager, said she doesn't think Sony is capable of handling toxic environments. We're reading this from an Axios story. Quote, Johnson's declaration includes a letter she shared with female employees when she left the company in January 2021, citing repeated attempts to notify superiors about gender bias, alleged discrimination against pregnant women, and resistance from a senior man in HR to act on these accounts.
We'll have another story like this in a second, which is unfortunate. But I think there are 2 things. So we're a video game show. We do video game news. And this is one of those cross-section things that has to do with a real-life problem. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about a lot of these things from
Activision, Ubisoft.
Yeah, and we've talked about them from the perspective of like the games industry. And maybe we should have zoomed out a while ago, because it's not just a games industry problem, right? It's a systemic problem, and it's a problem with our society
everywhere, yeah,
and maybe with our civilization. I don't know, but you know, I wish I knew how to fix these things, and you just don't. You have to hope, though, that the people in charge and that the companies in charge can figure out how to make HR departments run in a way that stops this kind of thing from happening. The one thing I do wish that we may be getting soon is a more detailed account of exactly what's going on, mm-hmm. or what went on at Sony. Mm-hmm. Because if Cecilia Anastasio or, I don't know, Wesley Ian Poole at Eurogamer or somebody writes a huge profile on Sony, I would not be surprised at all if in that story somewhere is multiple sources say that the HR department is not a safe place to take, blah, 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 just like we've heard at other places.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So while I am unequipped, and I think, now, not to put words in your guys' mouth, but I think we're all pretty much unequipped on how to deal with this from like a real solution standpoint. I think we'd all agree that like HR departments, which have been something that have been a constant throughout all these stories, would be one thing to shore up, but we don't know if that's necessarily the problem. Besides what Johnson said in the Axios story at Sony, but it's not surprising, but it's still disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, it's probably. This kind of stuff's probably happening everywhere.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because it's a problem with humanity, not necessarily a problem with video game companies mm-hmm. themselves. Yeah,
yeah. And I don't have an answer either. I don't have much to input, but I do know something that I just personally like have seen in specific points throughout history is that a lot of times, I don't know. I think a big solution would be hire more women. Just hire more women in general. I've seen that in a lot of leadership positions. Sometimes a woman in charge gets more done than men do, and there's a lot of examples of that as well. I think throughout history. But other than that, though, yeah, it's the same old story. Unfortunately, I do think that with the advent of the internet, for better or worse, we do have a lot more people, a lot more eyes on these situations. What comes out of it, I feel, is, hey, don't do this. And I think that we're getting a better generation who is growing up on seeing these injustices. And hopefully something will be done with it. Because even though we do have another section of the internet that is vile and, awful just in general, they're also quite unwelcoming compared to like the other side. Mm-hmm. So I think that with the help of the internet, unfortunately not now, in the future, hopefully things will change for the better. But right now we're still stuck in this interim period of mm-hmm. bullshit.
Yep. And if you are a big company, and you haven't fixed problems, now's the time to do it, because it's not like this is suddenly going to stop and we're not going to have another story like this for the next 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Like if there's another company with big systemic problems, we're going to hear about it. there's a small company with systemic problems like Scavenger Studio. We're going to hear about it.
Of course.
And I think that's a good thing. Like that makes the industry better. And I don't know. I guess I don't have much more to say. Connor, you look like you're going to say something.
I just when this a couple weeks ago when we mentioned the story about Sony denying the claims and asking it to be thrown out, at that point I was like, okay, they're doing what Ubisoft,
striking a similar tone.
Striking a similar tone of what Ubisoft, what Activision did, of trying just to get rid of the news as quick as possible. And I'm wondering when companies are going to figure out that that's not going to work anymore.
The Streisand effect, sure.
Yeah, because, again, Ubisoft tried to do it, backfired on them. Activision tried to do it, backfired on them. Sony's doing it, it's probably going to backfire on them. So when are companies going to be like, okay, we can't just sweep this under the rug anymore. We got to take action when people bring this stuff up.
Yeah, and maybe strike an apologetic tone. And
Yeah.
not a Bobby Kotick, go F yourselves tone.
Exactly.
I never took steroids. Oh, man, Bobby Kotick, what a joke. Sorry, that's a Mark reference.
You're fine.
Okay. Are we ready to move on then?
Yes.
EA, Microsoft, Gearbox speak out on a Texas Anti-Trans directive. So this requires some background as well. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas ordered state agencies to investigate gender-affirming care for transgender children as child abuse. The implication being that because they consider it child abuse, people like doctors or teachers who come into contact with a child have to report the abuse or face criminal penalties. More than 60 companies, including Apple, Google, Microsoft, EA, and Gearbox, took an ad in the Dallas Morning News, and I believe this was Friday, a couple days ago, calling public leaders in Texas and across the country to abandon writing discrimination into law. Reading from the ad, quote, "The recent attempt to criminalize a parent for helping their transgendered child access to medically necessary, age-appropriate healthcare in the state of Texas goes against the values of our companies," end quote. I have a few things. So this sort of wraps into the previous thing. And we haven't talked about the situation in Ukraine, but I feel like there are parallels here. For one, this is another situation. I have no idea. Like, I do not have the expertise to know the psychology or the medical necessities for, I am not an expert in that. What people think should be done or shouldn't be done. I think things should be done. I don't think you just stop things from happening. Yeah. But when it comes to what a medical doctor would prefer, I have no idea. But what's going on in Texas is not we need to care for these children and help them along in life. It's transgenderism is wrong and we need to stop it somehow. Mm-hmm. And that's an important distinction because it's not done out of compassion. It's done out of
discrimination.
Discrimination, yeah. So that's important. Besides that, I think the other thing to that makes me uncomfortable about this kind of stuff is like Apple. If you care so much about discrimination, are you willing to change how your business deals with China? Like, I don't know. I guess that's what makes me. I'm sure they sincerely believe this. But a lot of these companies want to have their cake and eat it too. Would I rather live in a world where they didn't do this kind of stuff? Probably not. And I guess the same goes for what we just talked about. There's, after Ubisoft and Activision, there were a lot of companies that spoke out. Phil Spencer spoke out. A lot of different people spoke out. It's like, how many of these companies are willing to sit down and work on big problems in other areas, like doing business with countries under dictatorships and stuff like that? Yeah, and I guess the parallel with Ukraine is like we've seen, okay, well, we're going to, all kinds of, I don't know, Nintendo and
businesses
Sony,
are all pulling out of Russia.
And that's across, and it's like, okay, so if you believe that this is that morality here is more important than business, what about with Uyghur camps in China and stuff like that? That's my all over the place rant, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is all over the place and not in a bad way, but it is this very bad I don't know what to say. I wanted to start to get on something, but it's just like, of course, obviously it comes down to money. Like they're not just going to stop doing business in China because that's where the stuff comes from,
and I don't
you know.
mean to
And then
change the discussion
they're going to have to
completely
right, and they're going to have to find some place to do here, blah 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 blah. But it's kind of like, I guess I'm trying to look at it from like my standpoint, and it's a terrible standpoint, but it's like something like a bill being passed in my state. I can actively do something to help that. Something on the other side of the world. I can't unless I have money. However, these guys do have money and they probably could do something, but they are also trying to stop something bad happening here. So it is kind of this like coin flip of
I don't know how to navigate it elegantly.
And I don't know. Hey, we should have healthcare because that would help a lot of trans kids.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's not a radical statement.
No, that's not. Controversial statement. No.
Sure.
But other than that, I honestly have nothing to add. I mean, great that they're fighting something that is obviously terrible, and why, whatever. That's it. I'm ready to move on.
Okay. I think it's a good step that they're doing. Like, again, yes, we should be looking wider world, taking care of stuff all over, but you got to start somewhere. Might as well start where these companies are based.
Sure.
Try to improve the lives of the people there, and then spread from there.
Yeah.
And what they're doing with opposing the discriminatory bills that Texas is putting through is very good. That is a good step to do to try and take.
We don't know if this is going to end up with any kind of actual like practical or physical. I don't want to say retaliation, but things put in place to reduce business done in Texas or whatever, which is similar to what like the NBA has done in the past, moving the All-Star game and stuff like that. Or I think in Arizona back in like the 90s, they decided to make Martin Luther King not a national holiday or whatever.
Yeah, and the Sun Devil Stadium, right? And the Super Bowl in '93.
Was it the Super Bowl or the Pro Bowl? Was said that they were going to move because Arizona. So anyway, like, I'd rather live in a world where companies did these things. I wish they did them everywhere. And
not pick and choose.
Yeah. But if they're going to pick and choose, okay, it's better than not picking and choosing, I guess. So, we ready to moving on to tidbits. Are we ready? Let's go. A man discusses the news, but not like the big news, the little news. Little bit. This is the tidbits.
Square Enix has launched a YouTube channel.
Yay.
Square Enix has launched SEM, Square Enix Music, a YouTube channel dedicated to Square Enix music, as the name suggests. Over 5,500 tracks have been added to the channel from over 60 albums. Original soundtracks from games like Chrono Trigger, Nier Automata, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy VII Remake are available. Square Enix has some of the best music games, so this is very good. It's a wonderful move. Tiny bit of effort, but maximum returns. That's money being made, man. Because I'm gonna listen to those soundtracks all the time at work. Other companies absolutely should be taking advantage of this, but a lot of them are not.
Yeah,
Nintendo specifically.
That makes me so annoyed. This is the future. Future's digital.
Yeah,
it's on the internet. Just get over it. Figure it out. You have armies of lawyers. I'm sure you can do it in a way that isn't throwing your stuff on the internet and losing control over your intellectual properties. Christ's sake.
Yeah, and they're not going to lose control over the whatever. We're not going to get into this. Speedrunner completes Elden Ring in less than 37 minutes. The Elden Ring speedrunner Distortion 2 just recently set the world record for the fastest any % completion for Elden Ring last week in under 50 minutes. The next day, he beat Elden Ring again in less than 45 minutes. This brings us to the day after that, which was yesterday. Distortion 2 has now completed Elden Ring in less than 37 minutes. Any % in the speedrunning category means that you beat the game no matter what, straight to the final boss, complete the game. That's all you need to do. Or if there's any obstacles in your way, you take care of that before you, whatever. Super impressive, obviously. The chat during the run was discussing the possibility of having a sub 15-minute run. And I finished typing that out last night. Today he beat it in 33 minutes.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
So that's like 4 minute to 5 minute difference, but it is happening faster and faster. So we will see.
Have you watched any of the speedrun?
I did check out some things, and there was How did you get to Liurnia, like after Godric?
I mean, I went around the castle and explored a lot of that area before I even found Godric.
So there's the bridge leading up to Liurnia, and then you kind of go around this mountain pass to get to it. There's a point where like he's riding Torrent and he just jumps off and like double jumps and like cuts out like that huge roundabout, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I knew about that, you know. But not that I'm not speedrunning or anything, but it's just like you avoid like wolves and stuff like that, and not that they're probably just ride past, but still, it was just like, man, what a great trick. And yeah, there are certain tricks that I've been seeing now that they're using. Like one trick that I've noticed is if you let an enemy like attack you on a ledge, or if you do an execution on a ledge, the animation will clip you off and you'll fall all the way down, but you won't take any damage or anything
because you're in the middle of the animation.
Because you're in the middle of the animation. Yeah.
So you can.
So yeah, the guy.
That's like the God, in Red Dead there was using the alcohol mechanics where you'd vomit to slow your descent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in Arceus, if you're aiming while climbing a mountain, you'll just walk up the mountain because they didn't take that into account. Yeah. So you'll just like, yeah.
I'll have to do that. I mean, I have all the stuff to like climb mountains and everything now, but I'm going to try that.
Yeah, you just like the guy on Price is Right, though. You got the yodeler. That's it for tidbits. I only had 2.
Okay.
Now we got NPDs.
Speedrun tidbits.
Yeah, speedrun tidbits.
Sub 30 minutes.
We got some numbers, baby.
Yay.
Once again, NPD numbers taken from Matt Piscatella, verbatim over on Twitter. Lots of info here today. Of course, you know, going to sound all the same. Every week it sounds the same, but I think it's interesting. Oh, thank you.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
Highlight of my month.
Yeah, okay. I see it in your eyes. You're
see it in your smile.
You're softening me up. February 2022 consumer spending across video game hardware, content, and accessories fell 6% when compared to a year ago to $4.4 billion. That's still a lot of money. Declines were experienced across all major categories of spend, with hardware showing the largest year-over-year percentage decline. 2022 year-to-date spending is down 4% when compared to the same period a year ago at $9.1 billion. Console hardware supply continues to be a challenge. Total market spending when compared to a year ago has now declined for 4 consecutive months. No longer spending COVID money, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Video game, well, that might go up again because of taxes. Who knows? Video game hardware dollar sales fell 27% when compared to February 2021 to $295 million. Year-to-date dollar sales are 5% lower than a year ago at $685 million. The hardware market remains in a supply-constrained state.
Yeah, that seems like it's going to be the story with everything.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know if the Steam Deck is selling well?
Well, so the Steam Deck is not it's released, but only to those who had pre-orders.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not. Basically, right now, it's all pre-orders until they start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can actually. I'll pull up that information while I'm doing this. Because it's very interesting. Well, kind of. Switch was the best-selling hardware platform in February 2022, and both units and dollars.
Someone got a Switch.
Oh yeah, you added to it, man.
With that tax refund money.
Hell yeah! Xbox Series ranked second across both measures. Nice.
Wait, so really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's easier to find.
Easier to find. Yes, sir. PS5 leads video game hardware in 2022 dollar sales year to date, while Switch has achieved the highest unit sales in the period. Elden Ring, baby, debuted as both the best-selling game of February 2022 as well as 2022 year-to-date. Launch month sales of Elden Ring were the second highest for any tracked title released in the past 12 months, trailing only Call of Duty Vanguard, released in November 2021.
Can you pause?
Yeah.
Because I have a statement here.
Sure.
So, the thing about video games that I don't think any other entertainment industry can match is its versatility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty Vanguard is a Marvel movie, right? Elden Ring is some weird indie horror that has to do with fingers, right? And yet they both are doing just as well, okay? Uh-huh. So that says something about the industry, right? That says something about the market, that people are willing to play games that don't act or play like big AAA releases. And what should an executive take away from something like this? I'll let that just hang there. Because what an executive shouldn't take away is
nobody wants to play single player cowboy games.
Exactly. I guess what an executive should take away is, oh, so if we make good games that are interesting, intriguing, fun, even if they're extremely difficult to the point that they are mean on purpose, people will just keep banging their head into a wall until they get past a boss or something. So maybe we should focus on that. Maybe we should delve more into creativity and creating things that have never existed before, and not act like making a cowboy game is the bravest thing since landing on the goddamn moon.
We're not just doing this for money.
This is why.
We're doing it for a shitload of money.
Because they can make a shitload of money with games that they know work.
Yeah, and it's not like, I don't know. If an Elden Ring came out every year, every couple of years, or others like it probably wouldn't.
Saturation.
I don't think Elden Ring is that much of an anomaly. Anyway, when it comes to a game that isn't like a AAA open world sort of crowd pleasing game being super successful, I think there are a lot of games like that. But anyway, sorry, not to cut you off.
No,
I just need to say that about Elden Ring.
It's fine. Let's see here. Where was I?
Ruined NPDs.
Yeah, you ruined it. After 1 month in market, Elden Ring ranked as the 5th best-selling game of the 12-month period ending in February 2022. Elden Ring ranked first on Steam and Xbox platforms in February, while placing second on PlayStation. Horizon 2 Forbidden West was the second best-selling game of February 22, while also ranking first on PlayStation platforms. Dollar sales of the PlayStation 5 version of Horizon 2 Forbidden West set a new launch month record for the PlayStation 5 platform.
Congrats. A whole lot of people wasting $10.
Don't get me started on that, man. Total War Warhammer 3 debuted as the 5th best-selling game of February 2022, while also ranking second on Steam. The title also launched as part of the PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription services. People will still buy your game even if you can get it from a subscription service. Who knew? February 2022 was the first time that February spending was down year over year since the start of the pandemic, in this case by 2.5%. February 2022 spending on video game accessories fell 7% when compared to a year ago to $180 million. Thus far in 2022, dollar sales of video game accessories have fallen 11% to $365 million.
Video game accessories?
Accessories, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw this in there, but the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller was once again the best-selling accessory of last month.
I wonder why.
It's a great controller from what I understand.
Yeah.
Highly customizable, rechargeable battery. It's affordable. It's like $150.
I wonder if a lot of people that use like an Xbox One controller or something for their PC end up picking that up.
They probably do.
Yeah.
Because it has different configurations. It has 3 different configurations. You press a button and it'll go to like what you want it to do, like whatever you set it at. So that highly customizable.
Do you know? Now I'm just asking you these questions. Do you?
42.
Do you know if let's say a guy plays a game where he flies a spaceship around?
Yeah, Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah. Oh god.
Does Windows when you hook up the Elite controller, because the Elite controller has the other bumpers on it, right?
Yes, it has the bumpers.
Can those be mapped into a game to actually
absolutely.
work?
Yeah, because those buttons are just those just down there.
Oh,
so they're all the same button. It's just like, do I want to shoot faster with by pressing that?
Okay, I thought they were like more buttons, not just
the
same.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could be more buttons too. I'm not sure because I haven't used it. I'm not into that. Like, you need a controller to do that. You're not good.
Well, for me, it's like, I would love to play Elite Dangerous and not have to press spacebar with my headset on, which I haven't played Elite Dangerous in a long time. But if I could have one more button on my controller.
Yeah.
In Elite Dangerous, you might as well just have a full cockpit set up just so you can play the game.
Yeah, but that's difficult when you have but I used to have I used to have stickers on my keyboard because my controller was filled to the brim with buttons.
Yeah,
and every button was mapped, and I had to feel out.
So I'll tell you what to do, buddy. I'll tell you what you should do. You should Google Steel Battalion controller. Okay, so it is a tank game made for the original Xbox, and it has 3 joysticks, has 43 buttons. It has a couple levers and it has three pedals. Okay, so that's what you're going to use for Elite Dangerous.
Good?
It was good.
Really?
Yeah, it was good.
Did you ever use that controller?
I did. Yeah, I used it at a Game On Expo, like the first year they were around, because they had a setup of like a LAN of it, and it's unfortunate because they only made 2 games that use that controller, which was still Battalion, and then they did connecting. But it's like, maybe too ahead of its time, because it's like, if I think about that controller now, it's like, man, how many mech games I can play, like Mech Warrior, imagine Battlefield 2142 on that thing probably would have been sick. Any Gundam games, like a lot of stuff with that.
Immersion.
Yeah, the immersion. And now with a VR headset, like, come on, man. Anyways, I got one more little thing. According to the NPD Group's Player Pulse for the 3-month period ending in January 2022, 49.5% of U.S. video game players identified as female. Of those female players, 89% played mobile, 49% played console, and 31% played PC. Minecraft was the most played console PC game, and mobile was Candy Crush Saga.
More people playing games.
Yay.
More people playing
and
games.
Then another, on average right now, Steam Deck is selling for over $1,000 on eBay.
Ooh.
Because no one can get them. The only people who have them are the ones who pre-ordered and bought them. Turns out a lot of those guys are reselling. So most of the ones selling on average right now I'm looking at are well over $1,000. There's a couple $600 to $800 here and there. It's
not worth. It is not worth that. I mean, I would love a Steam Deck because there are a lot of games that I don't want to play on my PC.
I agree.
But it is not worth $1,000 to play those games.
A lot of hentai games.
The people that bought and are just reselling the Steam Decks, they should have their Steam accounts revoked.
Right, because you need a Steam account in order to resell. You can't buy it without a Steam account.
Yeah.
And so
revoked is a good. That's what I would do.
If
I'd force them to play Elden Ring.
If Gabe Newell has the time to go to people's doorsteps and hand deliver a Steam Deck, he has time to find these guys and ban their Steam accounts.
He has a specific set of skills.
That's it for MPDs?
That's it for MPDs. I apologize. Yeah, I should have said that.
No, it's fine.
You did.
I've decided it's
I think
fine.
you did say it was
the
last
I?
one.
Follow us on Twitter and
Thank
Facebook
you.
at the Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse. Go check out the new video on Halo Infinite. Like it, Assault and Battery, that like button. Subscribe, bell, comment, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.